Who goes there? That nightmare again. I need a drink. No. I want to know what Bradley and Dr. Colden have to say about all this.
Fine, do what you want. I'm just trying to reason.
You're awake, Mr. Pierce.
How's our fugitive? Dr. Fuller hasn't reported your disappearance to the Force, but that'll come soon.
Bradley?
Who else would it be?
Mr. Pierce, are you all right? You look like you saw a ghost.
There are things I can't explain.
Tell us. What happened?
I met a Francis Sanders. Do you know him?
Of course, he's a patient. Or was. I haven't seen him since Dr. Fuller had him transferred to the basement.
He knew Sarah Hawkins, and that's what killed him.
What? How did he die?
I'm not sure I can explain it.
Tell me how Mr. Sanders died.
I didn't see what, but something was there, with us.
Of what do you speak?
Sanders said it was Sarah Hawkins' visitor. He spoke of it like a living being.
Sarah Hawkins? Have I missed something here? This makes no sense. I don't see how it can help crack the Hawkins case.
You really think she's involved? How could she have murdered Mr. Sanders?
Francis Sanders mentioned Mrs. Hawkins just before dying. It's no coincidence.
You know, Francis Sanders was a well-known art collector. I guess you can still pay a visit to his wife, Irene Sanders.
An art collector, you say? That's probably how they met.
If you plan on having dinner at the Sanders household, please spare the widow the tale of her late husband's suffering.
I don't agree. She deserves the truth.
But that truth may be biased. We don't know the bottom of it.
You're right. Without a plausible explanation for what I saw, let's not jump to conclusions.
That seems wise indeed.
Very well. I'll go to see Francis's widow. Perhaps I'll find a link between her husband's death and Sarah Hawkins.
Don't end up in the hospital this time.
I'll do my best.
Let us go now and learn the truth about what's happening on this island.
The other night's events are still confused in my head.
What can I do for you, sir?
Mrs. Sanders, I'm a private detective. We must talk about your husband and his ties to Sarah Hawkins. Can I come in?
You may. However, before we go any further, please know that my husband died yesterday.
That is precisely what brings me here.
Well, well, look who's here. You know each other.
We met briefly. Time enough to iron out a few matters. The main thing is that we understood one another. The brave detective has a talent for sticking his nose into my business.
I bump into her every time I'm investigating someone's death.
It's a small island, Detective. My island. It's better that it's you bumping into me.
You're investigating Francis' death. Why? Who hired you?
I spoke to Francis before he died. His story suggests a link to a case I'm working on.
Well, since this business has got nothing to do with me, I'll be in your husband's office, Irene. We'll carry on later.
Very well, Miss Baker. This way, Mr. Pierce. And do make yourself comfortable. It would seem that you have much to tell me. May I inquire as to when you had the opportunity to talk to my husband?
Yesterday, I met him at the hospital. He spoke to me about Sarah Hawkins.
Oh, of course he spoke to you about her. That's all he talked about. Sarah Hawkins and her paintings. Please forgive my tone. The fact is that I have not been allowed to see him since he was interned. You, on the other hand, a perfect stranger, were able to see him and even talk with him the day he died. How was he? Were you present when he had this attack? What happened?
What happened to your husband is terrible, Mrs. Sanders. But from what I saw, it was inevitable. The man I met yesterday had lost his reason. He suffers no longer, if you would allow me such a platitude.
Of course. Thank you for your kind words. Nobody in that hospital would have deigned to speak them to me. However, it will require more than that to soothe my mind. I need to understand. How could this happen? In a reputed institute? And right before your eyes? Did you not do anything to help him?
It's terrible what happened to your husband, but I had nothing to do with it. I was injured, and I came across him in the hospital quite by chance.
Injured? Well, I'm delighted to see you in such fine fettle, Detective. Not everybody enjoyed such a prompt recovery.
I suppose Fuller does do miracles now and again.
Luck is obviously very kind to you. Oh, I'm tired, Mr. Pierce. I would be grateful if you could tell me what you expect of me, and then leave.
Did your husband talk to you about Sarah Hawkins' visitor? A shambler, to use his precise terms.
Well, you can imagine that's all he talked about. It's exhibited at the center of the gallery. No better place for the painting that endowed him with the privilege of such a shameful and miserable end to his life.
Hold on. The Shambler is a painting by Sarah Hawkins.
Who else to paint such horrors? Take a look for yourself, if you feel so inclined.
It is my only lead at this stage. I suppose I have nothing to lose.
Then you have paid no heed. For my part, I refuse to set foot in that gallery again. But if you're so eager to see it...
Thank you, Mrs. Sanders. I won't be long. The day the Shambler came into the Sanders' lives. A house of artists. A house of artists. Francis Sanders and Sarah Hawkins were close. Friends, even? A house of artists. Sanders' accession register. He wrote beside the Shambler, "Finally." What did Sarah Hawkins fear so much that she didn't want to sell the painting? He finally won. Was Sanders aware of his imminent doom? She first refused to sell the painting. How did that make her feel? She despises Sarah Hawkins, but it's the painting she truly hates. Why? The Shambler. I need to see it. Let's see what this cylinder has to say once it's inserted in a phonograph. An old diary. Strange. For months, Sarah Hawkins refused to part with her painting, to finally give it away for nothing. I could use one of those. The man transformed an entire wing of his manor into an art gallery. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? What the hell was that? I can't even touch it. What the hell was that? That thing came out of this painting. There has to be a link. If I destroy it. What the hell was that? What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it? Damn! Did it hear that? Maybe I can use this dagger. Damn it! He's dead. I think. What the hell was that? Is this dagger part of Sanders' collection, or was he seeking to acquire it? Damn. This dagger looks different.
What's the matter with you? Don't tell me that you're going crazy, too.
You didn't see anything.
I saw you within an inch of putting a dagger through your forearm. Did I miss something more interesting?
Sanders was right. This painting is cursed.
What are you talking about?
I was attacked by a creature. I pushed it back, I think.
I think so, too.
You knew. You knew about the beast.
What are you talking about? Think yourself lucky that I saved your hand, even if it was to save my goods.
You mean me?
Don't flatter yourself, sweetheart. I'm talking about the contents of this gallery. And by the way, where do you think you're going with that dagger?
It saved my life. It's an extraordinary dagger.
You should talk to Algernon Drake. He's an antique dealer here on Darkwater. He'll tell you all about it. From what I saw in the ledgers, it was him who sold it to Sanders.
It's not your style to give me free information like that.
Take it as payment for being my canary. A simple trade-off. Now go see your antique seller. I've still got things to settle with Irene.
Where's the bookseller? Freud's The Interpretation of Dreams. It's the work that laid the foundations of psychoanalysis at the beginning of this century. An old diary. What happened here? Let's start over. Where did they break in from? Blood. Seems like amateur work. To whom does this footprint belong? No sign of struggle. If the burglar smashed this jar, it wasn't intentionally. Was he hurt then? What sort of thief leaves his tools at the crime scene? What killed all these animals? What happened that made the burglar flee before finishing his work? What the... Charles Hawkins? What sort of power did Sarah Hawkins' painting possess? Sarah Hawkins helped hide something in this safe. Drake put in a great deal of effort to hide whatever is in here. Everything is linked to the Sarah Hawkins case. Drake left instructions on how to find the combination of his safe. Is everyone on this island taking sleeping pills? What link did he find between Charles Hawkins and an old amulet? Arkham editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. How many volumes are there in this collection? Another volume by Arkham Editions. Arkham Editions. Never heard of him. How many volumes are there in this collection? Cylinders that Drake tried to hide. I should perhaps listen to them. A kind of chalice.
And these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold. To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing protect our White Queen from their dark soldiers. I see our number dwindling, and my will strengthens as my apprehension grows. We shall refuse to be the playthings of destiny. Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham editions that you sent me. Volume 9, Azathoth and other horrors seemed particularly relevant to my research. I never tire of browsing through them.
The Chalice of Knowledge. Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that Drake... What did Drake say about this collection? Drake talked about a particular... So these are the volumes that Drake was talking about in his message. What did Drake say about this collection? The Queen has little protection. The Queen has little protection.
Dear friend, I thank you again for the anthology of the works of Arkham edition. I finally understood that we were only pieces on the chessboard of the gods. Let those of us who are still standing and these red drops, like precious stones, lie fixed, set in divine gold.
The Chalice of Knowledge.
To be the guardian of the Grail does not protect me from its attractions, Henry. And I do confess it. I am willing to pay to know its secrets.
Drake talked about a particular volume.
Dr. Colden, this man's condition is deteriorating.
What says Dr. Fuller? It's his patient, after all.
He's busy with Captain Fitzroy. He specifically asked us not to bother him when that's the case.
Oh, of course. I'll see what I can do. Mr. Blake, can you hear me? I'm Dr. Colden. We'll take care of you.
There's nothing we can do. I tried talking to him. He's catatonic.
Very well. I'll examine him. Severe malnutrition. Swollen abdomen with traces of petechia. Doesn't seem like an edema. Slight protuberances seem to indicate the presence of a foreign body. His skin shows abnormal loss of color and seems dried out. He's totally dehydrated. His fingertips and toes seem to feature a slight ring under the skin, tender at the touch, slightly sticky. 30-year-old subject, severe hypothermia, erythematous papules around the eyes and eardrums, necrosed palpebral tissue. Lord, this smell.
So, Doctor, an opinion?
I'm not sure I have the necessary knowledge to treat this man.
Don't say that. You're our most worthy doctor after Dr. Fuller.
Some of his symptoms are beyond my comprehension.
What did you find?
Did you examine his abdomen? It would seem there's something inside.
He hasn't eaten in days. Are you certain it's not an edema?
No. Can't you recognize an edema? Pushing with your finger won't leave a trace. And look at these bumps.
It's not like he could be pregnant.
Whatever it is, this man has something inside him that shouldn't be there. We should operate on him at once.
Dr. Fuller said not to worry, that the edema would go away by itself.
You know, I'm not sure Dr. Fuller is telling the truth. In spite of the muscle contractions, his arms seem limp.
Yes. They can't have decalcified, not at this rate.
And yet, if there is a bone in this arm, it's softer than that of a newborn baby. What about his cranium?
It's soft at the touch. It does seem like the skull of a baby.
Look at these sticky rings growing at his fingertips. What can be happening?
I'm sure you'll find an explanation. You have to.
I see signs of hypodermoclysis, but he's still dehydrated. When was his last IV?
He's constantly under perfusion. I've even gone beyond the recommended dose to no avail. And you won't believe me, but when we bathed him earlier...
He seemed to feel better?
Yes. Like he needs an aquarium, not a perfusion. But that doesn't explain his condition.
I almost don't believe it myself, but these symptoms are not those usually associated with the human species.
What do you mean? Don't tell me you believe in extraterrestrials.
No. This poor man is from our world, all right. But his body is undergoing unnatural mutations. And this transformation is killing him. His body simply can't cope.
Where could he have gotten such an infection?
I pray that it's not here.
Dr. Colden, may I know what you're doing to my patient?
What I'm doing? How about what you've done to him?
Let us calm down, my dear Marie. I don't appreciate your tone, nor your insinuations. I've done to him what I do to all my patients, provide him with the best available care.
Your imagination is without limit. It's your homemade drug again, is it not? Those people are not your guinea pigs.
There, there. What have you seen to put you in such a state?
I've seen suction cups on his fingers, his falling body temperature, his dehydration. Had I only read the report, you know what I would have concluded, Doctor.
Do I? Tell me anyway. I'm curious.
He's no longer human. These are the attributes of an animal.
Fascinating. An animal, you say? Could you be more precise? Cephalopod, perhaps?
This amuses you.
Your reaction does. I know your thirst for knowledge, Doctor. It's your innocent worries for this man that have you overreacting.
For this man, and the others whose medical files you've been hiding.
I have to protect my discovery. These people owe me their life, but the world isn't ready yet. It will be, in time.
I will not let you do this.
You disappoint me, Marie, but I still have hope you'll one day share my point of view. In the meantime, take care of your own patients and try not to forget who you're dealing with.
Was that a threat? What did he mean?
It was a warning. Dr. Fuller is this institution's founder and one of our profession's most influential voices. My word is of no weight against his. If I continue to protest, I will only ruin my reputation and career.
It's scandalous. Can't we do anything? Is there no evidence of his crimes?
Oh, that evidence exists. I'm sure of it. I need to find the missing medical files.
And where would you find those? In his office? What if you get caught?
I'd rather not think about that. I'm counting on your discretion.
Of course, Doctor. You can count on me. I'll keep mum.
No, you're pulling my leg. I'm not joking. I saw the schedule. She's alone in the bathroom again. And she still says nothing to that old witch, Donovan.
Oh, listen to the way you talk, you naughty girl. And the answer is no. You can imagine that she doesn't dare say a thing. It's
Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into Dr. Fuller's office. But rest assured, I'll tell him you came by.
That won't be necessary. Thank you.
I will tell him, nonetheless. Wait a minute. Where do you think you're going? Dr. Colden.
Mrs. Donovan.
Nobody goes into Dr. Fuller's office. But rest assured,
That won't be necessary. Thank you.
I will tell him.
Everybody says it. She's a witch, an old hag.
Elizabeth? You all right? Why is this room in such a state?
Because, as always, I'm cleaning it by myself. And the water was once again shut off this morning. I had to bother Mrs. Donovan again, giving her a new excuse to belittle me.
Do you really need Mrs. Donovan to open a valve? Why not ask the janitor?
I can't make these decisions without her approval. Imagine if there were a leak. Anyhow, the boiler room is locked half the time. So every time the water gets shut off, I have to go and endure her reproach until she's settled the problem.
I see. Courage, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Doctor.
It's temperamental, if I understand correctly. We've been waiting to be restocked for weeks. The doses prescribed by Fuller are far too high. We're running out of this medicine.
I know, Doctor. We sent the purchase order, though, and Mrs. Donovan refused it.
Once again.
Can't you do anything?
Donovan takes her instructions directly from Dr. Fuller. I'm afraid I can do nothing about it for the moment. The door to the boiler room is locked. I have to get the key if I wish to get rid of Donovan. Let's hope I can go through the administration office. The operating room is never accessible after an operation. This man, Edward Pierce, his file is incomplete. What did Fuller do to him?
Dr. Colden, we need you at once in Dormitory B.
Would you know where the key to the boiler room is?
Betty didn't put it back in its place. Well, she took it to lock the door.
I'll ask her. Thank you.
But if I may say so, Doctor, I think that the problems of our patients are more urgent than the plumbing.
What is the problem?
Mr. Evans seems to be having trouble with his IV.
I'll see to it right away.
And the family of Mrs. Harding is asking to see her medical file.
I'll never understand why it's so hard to see patients' files around here.
Rules are rules. See, with Dr. Fuller, he's in charge. Anyhow, they're still waiting, and I don't think they'll leave until they get what they want.
Understood. Anything else?
As a matter of fact, yes. A man has been brought up from the basement.
Oh. What state is he in now?
You should go see for yourself, Doctor. Dr. Colden.
Dr. Colden?
Hello, Betty. I'm looking for the key to the boiler room.
What for?
To put it in its place. Perhaps I should do the same with you.
I beg your pardon?
I suspect you of having a little too much fun at Elizabeth's expense. But be warned, it could easily be you they will all be laughing at tomorrow.
You are right, Doctor. The key is in the dormitory office in Block B.
Thank you. I shall go fetch it.
Doctor, please. My chest.
The key to the boiler room. All I have to do is shut off the water and hope Donovan takes the bait. She recently came back from the surgical block. She's stable. Given her file, a nephrectomy would have been inevitable, but Fuller was able to save her kidney. He broke his back in an accident down by the docks.
Ah, the whaling station. What's wrong with me?
What are you talking about? Yes, it's Dr. Colden. Tell me what happened.
It's the old whaling station.
The one that hides the smuggling business.
Oh no, not them. They don't go. Everyone in his place. The captain on one side, and me.
What did you see there?
Nothing. Nothing at all. The floor was all...
And that's how you broke your back.
Perhaps. No.
Why did nobody tell me about her admission? Mrs. Sanders? His perfusion of a semi-physiological solution doesn't seem to work. He's undergoing a ventricular fibrillation. Nurse? Deborah, come and help me, please. His potassium level is too high. Replace it with 2% glucose solution with insulin, calcium...
I'll tend to it right away.
Thank you. He's in your hands. I can't shut this with my bare hands. I need a tool.